I've been having pretty bad internet today, so I hope it doesn't crap itself. I hope I'm not gonna end up sitting here for hours, because I'm only gonna be telling origin stories. So, how's our set looking? I should probably move the chair because I have a setup of plushies behind me. How do I want to do this? Here, let me try, because the plushies are back here. Oh, no, that's gonna hit the computer. Should I just do this standing up? Here, I'm gonna move the chair over here. There we go. Alright. Hold on, I didn't even bother to check this yet. Is this good? Yes. Okay, good. Alright, what's up, y'all? So, today I'm going to be telling all of the origin stories of how I created the Mario Legends full cast and how I came up with their names. So this is going to be a long form video after I'm done with this stream. So basically, I didn't have time for this in OC Reveal 4, so if you wanted to know about these characters, then you could go and watch the video. But also, in the long form video, there will be pictures of the characters and correct spellings of their names, which I haven't found a way to do on stream yet, because there are just so many. But, I've got them set in a specific order, so I think we're going to start with the ones that I've already revealed last year. And so, well, but before I get started, there's a couple of comments I should make, because I also set this in OC Reveal 2. So, basically, most of the original characters used to be based off of actual people that I used to know, which I stuck with for 3 years, but then in 2020 I had to change that so that they're all original characters now. So I had to change all of their names, I had to change all the designs, and basically everything about them so they're not real people. Because I don't know what gave me that idea, because most of those people I haven't seen in forever. So when I talk about which characters those are, I will not be saying their original names. Hi, what's up? I'm not going to be saying what these characters used to be called, because first of all, I don't even remember all of their names, and second of all, why would I do that? So I'm only going to say what they are referred to as nowadays. So let's get started. So, well, OC Reveal 1, I've basically already talked about how I created Nightmare Mario and all the fire giants. It was based on the new Super Mario Bros. Wii mods where Mario and Bowser switched. I already talked about this. But then I got his name from the NDY video Mario's Nightmare. Hang on, there's a notification blocking the screen. Ah, frick. Okay. So, hang on. There's pictures of him back here. Hang on a second. I actually recorded myself drawing this picture, and I put it up on the wall over there with all the others. But, when I created the others, I did not want to also call them, like, Nightmare, Luigi, or Peach. I wanted to give them more, unique names. Like, and, the best ones I came up with were Midnight Luigi, Twilight Peach, Sunset Daisy, Rosaluna, and Moonlight Kenza. Funny story about Rosaluna. So I feel like that was actually a name that I used somewhere before Mario Legends, but I do not remember where. I just repurposed it for Mario Legends. But it actually means, like, Lunar Rosalina or something like that. But Rosaluna might just be a funny pun, but that's what I've been calling her. So here, I'm gonna go put this picture back on the wall. we go. Alright. So that's actually, I hadn't actually mentioned about Rosaluna, but it's just an interesting fact. But now, about Kenza. She used to be... there was another character I used in, like, a production that I scrapped a really long time ago. Based on, like, an impersonation of Bowser type thing. But the name I gave that character didn't fit a princess, so I changed her name to Kenza, added her to Mario Legends, made her her own deal. And so that's also why I made her a giant doppelganger, Moonlight Kenza. So, the first, actually no, I'm not going to do that yet. First, Link and Zelda are not my original characters, but, so I originally used the Twilight Princess designs during, like, the earliest days, but then I was like, what if I just did my own designs of Link and Zelda? And they actually look pretty cool, so I've been sticking with that. And, I did a poll, based on whether or not they are original characters, and it was unanimously decided that they are because I created the designs. So basically they are original, but they're still based on the Nintendo characters, Link and Zelda. Okay, now our first group of characters who used to be based on real people. I'm not going to say their names again, but I will say where I met them in the most vague way possible. So, first we have the Nintendo. Me, of course, is based on me, well, because duh. I'm the only one whose name didn't change because I couldn't come up with anything better. I've always stuck with Anilamis, nothing else. But like Milenon, Enaro, and Jociphena used to be portrayed by my 3 siblings, but they're not anymore. So, and that's why they're related to me in Mario Legends. But then the other 6, when I first started Mario Legends, I was going to a private school, which is what Daranaka Academy is now in Mario Legends. So these 6 were actually in my class. Azalea, Cornen, Anilamis, Cassiala, Eria, and Nuta. All of my classmates ended up being in it before I changed them to original characters, and the 6 best ones became the Nintendo. So basically the 6 ones that were the closest friends to me, but then I changed them to original characters because none of them are, I haven't seen them in forever. So that's that. But, yeah. And then we've got the 6 goddesses. Farore, Nayru, and Din, basically the same deal as Link and Zelda. I just created my own designs for them. But then, how I came up with the names for the other 3, Flora, Andsh, and Eria, I basically took locations from Zelda Skyward Sword, since Farore, Nayru, and Din are also named after, or maybe those locations are named after them, you know, Faron, Eldin, Nayru. So, Flora, she got her name from Lake Floria from Skyward Sword. Andsh and Din, shoot, hang on. Since Lake Floria was in Faron and Skyward Sword, I also took locations from Eldin and Nayru and changed their names so that they, sound like Andsh and Eria. And that's when I came up with the locations Landshi and Tueri for the Finland map. So, that's how I came up with their names. Because in Skyward Sword, you go to each location more than once. The second time is for the Sacred Flames, and so I was like repurposing those locations that weren't originally accessed in the first part of the game. So I just went from there and like split them into 6. So that's my logic for Skyward Sword. It's a sick game. I feel like people don't acknowledge it as much, but it's pretty cool. I'm gonna do a randomizer later. But Twilight Princess will be first. Let's see, what's next? We've got... Hang on, let me get a water bottle. I'm gonna be talking a lot. Oh, fun category. More family members. These characters, they were inspired by actual family members before becoming original characters. So they'd be kind of obvious that Tana and Shano were based on my parents, but they're not anymore. So now the rest of them that I introduced that I introduced in OC Reveal 4, that being Vera and Jako, who were based on my grandparents from my mom's side of the family, and then Tonnie Louisa, who was based on my grandparents from my dad's side of the family, except I looked from the original Mario Legends, my dad's dad was never actually in it, so there wasn't an original character based off of him. And so, well, that's because, like, around the time where I originally started Mario Legends, he actually passed away. But there wasn't any mention of him in the original Mario Legends, so... Yeah. But there are Easter eggs in the remakes. So... Who's next? Let's see. Jonas and Eria. Okay, I did not look at the pronunciation guide before doing this, so if I butcher the pronunciation, I'll correct it in the long form video, which I don't think I'll butcher any of these. I don't know. Since I did OC Reveal 4. Jonas and Eria were based off of my uncle and aunt from my mom's side, because Jonas and Tana are siblings. And so Jonas was based off of... He used to be my mom's brother, but he's not anymore. So I don't know how many times I'm going to say that. Holy crap. But anyway. They have 3 children who were my 3 cousins. And so there were 3 characters I based off of them originally. That being Joello, Allesia, and Voon. So that's their origin. Okay, this next set, I don't remember exactly what side of my mom's side of the family they were, so I just kind of made something up. It's Mary Davis. I basically said, like, of course, Mary would be, like, somewhere on Jaco's side of the family. Her and her kids, Katie and Zoe, who were... I included them because they're part of the reason I created Nightmare Mario, because they used to argue a lot about Bowser being the hero. And so Katie was portrayed as the one girl who's like, oh, Mario and Nightmare Mario are the same person. And everybody was like... Girl, you are crazy. Like, what the frick? And so, I also included Erika in this group because she was based on a photographer who would come to my Nana's house and take family pictures a long time ago. But, so, something about this. Before I did the remix for Mario Legends, I actually did change all the names. So, I ended up keeping some scenes from the original because I didn't want to have kept these characters for nothing. So I basically just gave the OCs a reason to exist. But, like, they do play bigger roles later. This is just, like, these are the characters you will see, like, around the very beginning, like, the first 5 chapters. So, yeah, that's how I created those characters. Next is pets. Okay, now, I'm gonna be real on this one. I was this close to keeping the original names for the pets because I'm like, they're animals and that's not personal info. But the only reason why I did change them was because, first of all, Kikordi was based on Kiki, who passed away a year and a half ago. And so I thought, like, thinking about these names would have been really sad, so I changed them. So all of the cats. Okay, first of all, the horse Phlox, I created him because I wanted a steed for myself, and that was the first name I came up with. But, here, let's do the cats first. Cortana, back in 2017, I had 2 cats. Their names were Kiki and Cutie. I'll be right back. Hang on a second. I have this ceramic figure that I made of Cutie when I was in high school. If I can get it without breaking anything. Whoa. Alright, yeah. So, I made this to resemble Cutie. She actually passed away in 2019. But I made this in high school as a little, pretty cute little ceramic there. I'm gonna set her right here. But yeah, that is actually, like, that's almost exactly what she looked like. And so Cortana, I renamed Cutie to Cortana for Mario Legends. And then, so, the 4 kittens, Gracelia, Spitindra, Bortabinis, and Valencio. So, back in 2014, Cutie had a litter of 4 kittens. And their names were Gracie, Speckles, Butterbean, and Valentine. I kept them in Mario Legends because I loved them so much, especially Gracie. Because whenever the kittens were old enough to go to new homes, Gracie was the only one we kept. And she got renamed to Gracelia. But then not even a year in, she like got into some kind of poison and ended up passing away in 2015. I don't know the current status of the other 3, but I'm sure they're still alive. They're probably pretty old now. They turn 11 this spring, so yeah. But yeah, they got renamed to Gracelia, Spitindra, Bortabinis, and Valencio. And then the other 4 kittens, Fluffera, Snowfur, Scrotorus, and Conidori. I forget exactly when it was, but there was this spring break where my family babysat 4 kittens. And, shoot, I don't know exactly what their original names were, but I changed them to Fluffera, Snowfur, Scrotorus, and Conidori. There were, 3 girls and 1 boy. They're all at new homes now, so I don't know their whereabouts. And then, there are 3 dogs in this set. One of them is Cassaris, who was based on my Nana and Papa's dog. But he passed away just last year, and I renamed him to Cassaris. And then Cooks and Calibra. Okay, believe it or not, I've had so many cats in my lifetime, but then, I got 2 dogs in, it was 2017 where I got one, 2018 where I got the other, and, these 2 were actually responsible for Cutie's death, so we got rid of them on the same day, and, I changed their names on the spot because I did not want to say their actual names. It was too tragic, so basically, their names have always been changed. And, everybody else, I didn't change their names until the last minute. So, there we go. Okay, the one time, okay, now I said I wasn't gonna say any of the original names. I feel like pets are an exception, though, because they're pets. They're not people. So, they're an exception. Alright. Oh, okay, here's the biggest group. We've got the Darinkans from Daranaka Academy. All of these used to be real people. And so the only ones that I kept were all of the teachers, all of my classmates, and classmates from Milenon's classroom, because Enaro and Jociphena, I didn't actually get to know anybody else in those classes, so these were the only ones I put in the original. And so I changed their names when I changed everybody's, everyone who was based on a real person, that all these names got changed at the same time, which was a heck ton of work. Let me say that. And also because there was some people's names who I did not like saying, so I changed them pretty fast. First we got, Andono was based on, oh, I forgot, yeah, this was the private school that I used to go to that I changed to Daranaka. So Andono was actually based on the principal, and Braun was based on an associate. I do not remember their original names. Honestly, most of these people, I don't remember their original names. Which is good, because I don't want to. But the main three, Brocus, Multis, and Zahn, all three of them were the biggest punks in that class. And so I basically just made them a trio of punks. Yeah. They're like... That's why I revealed them separately from all the other classmates, because the rest of them are pretty passive and end up transferring to Thedos Academy at the end of Mario Legends. So they turn good, which is good because I like my characters a lot. So the teachers are Garoda, Nialis, Olive, Sherry, Pulo, Anne, Leon, Chim, Elijah, Ziny, Plaza, and Meg. Which is a perfect number for a traditional grade school, K through 12. So I basically assigned these characters to the different Finlayan grade levels. Which worked out perfectly. And also, none of this is scripted, so bear with me, okay? And then the classmates, this school did this thing where if you were in the 7th grade plus, they would merge classes sometimes for specific subjects. So like 7th and 8th grade merged, 10th and 11th, not 10th and 11th, 9th and 10th merged, and 11th and 12th merged. And so that is why the Cetata and Oxeta classes have the most members in this section. Also Sineda, because I got to know the people who were in Milenon's class. Yeah. But I didn't get to know anybody else, so nobody made it in. Cetata, or 7th grade in Finlayan, includes Carlito, Dinelis, Naran, okay, sorry, I merged these two. I'm just gonna say them all at the same time, because this is too difficult. It's Angora, Gian, Leanne, Kina, Carlito, Dinelis, Naran, Devados, Onatano, Aso, Ando, Lendo, Yahim, Yebieta, Cagliari, Bernia, Hale, Bato, Lorenza, Merity, Vessalini, Veldis, Corel, Lexus, Ella, Janet, and Eunice. They were all in my class in Daranaka Academy. So, shoot, what was I gonna say? Hold on. What was it? There was some I was gonna say and I forgot. Oh well, it might come up as I say everybody else's names. So these 8, Elias, Lysissa, Mikal, Keo, Caius, Machias, Tyson, and Ariel were all in higher classes, but I don't remember exactly which ones. So I just put them in Nineda and Dakeda, which are grades 9 and 10. Also, I should mention, this is, like, at the start of Mario Legends, so as time goes on, the grade levels go up, because the time span is 2 years. I'm saying this as if, like, it's the very beginning. So, I'm just saying, these are all people who share the same group. And then we've got Sineda, which are Milenon's classmates at Diranaka, Mandalia, Marty, Chrissy, Serena, Luxus, Garen, Tias, Tia, Emmy, Carolee, Lyella, Calicity, Ramus, and Soraya. So, yeah, it's crazy the number of people I included in the original. So, oh my gosh. And then there's Daringa, who was never based on a real person. She was just portrayed as the goddess that these people worship, who was immediately proven false by the Triforce goddesses. But yeah. Okay. Whatever I was thinking is gonna come up, and I'm gonna be really upset when it does. So, the next group is Camp Alfino. So, what the interesting thing about these characters is that they used to be based on people at the summer camp I go to all the time. And that's the one that I mentioned that I was volunteering as a counselor this summer. So, I don't remember the exact positions for Lanny and Martris. So, I made Lanny the director and Martris the activity director. But they were some sort of leaders at the camp. And then we have the counselors. Issa was based on my counselor from 2017, which is why she's one of my favorite OCs. As is Adelena, because she was based on my counselor from 2018. I didn't add in anybody from any other year, because these were the only ones that I wrote about during the times of Mario Legends, because I started the original in 2017, ended it in 2019, remade it in 2023, so there we go with those. And then the other counselors are Kari, Anila, Amira, Juna, Garci, Jara, Corinne, Bernaya, Trayvon, Pato, Axel, and Cher. So these were people who were in my group and also often met up with the group. Basically just people we saw often. So, and then there were the campers, who all of these were, actually most of these were in my group. The other ones, here, I'll just say the ones who were in my group. Between 2017 and 2018, those were Invala, Lily, Halea, Lena, Sacramenta, Gryania, Moran, Avani, Taya, Beta, Asila, Nutella, and Ash. Kamaya and Desiria were based on campers from another group, but they often met up with us during those times. So that's where I came up with those characters. Now we're gonna get to some smaller groups. Ooh, okay, this next group, none of them are based off of real people. Like, ever. They've always had these names. So, first is Mia and Mark, who I've portrayed as the parents of Mario and Luigi, and the funniest thing about how I came up with their names, you know how Mario and Luigi say Mamma Mia all the time? That's how I came up with her name. That's how I came up with Mia. And then Mark is basically like the closest other name to Mario that I came up with for their dad. So that's probably the funniest way I came up with an OC. Also, if you're curious about how I came up with the names of the OCs, I tried to find something traditional for Finlaya, and basically went off of that. And then the next set of people in this group are Brooke, Verta, and Hamper. I basically created them as Brooke-like royalty, so not too much crazy detail about them. They've always held the same position in Mario Legends, so nothing has really changed about them at all. Other than Brooke's design, because the original design I did for her had way too many colors, and it didn't match at all. So, alright, that means the next group is the Athene Temple members, who, these people, they were based on real characters before I changed them, again. So basically, I'm just saying this as of, like, these were the positions. I'm just gonna say, okay, hang on. Let me figure out how I'm gonna word this. I'm just gonna say their names as if I'm, like, matching them with the position of the character they were based on. So, I'm just gonna say their names when I talk about the origin story. Or, like, what the real people did. So, Davina and Christina were actual music leaders for this organization. And Davina's daughter is Allie. So that's always been a thing. And she was a counselor of some of those groups. Mia, Alila Viva, and Margaretita. So I actually, this was 2017, so I was still in, like, lower grade school. And these three were in my class. And so, hang on, what the frick? So when I moved up, they ended up being volunteers. So that's how I created them. Next we have Kata, who was based on a doctor who I used to see all the dang time. So that's pretty much how I created her, because she debuts in chapter 8, which is when I end up getting, like, diagnosed with a crazy illness. And Kata was the doctor that Tana took me to see. So, next we have Liam and Leah. These were not based on real people, ever. These were the names I came up with to people who were working at the beach. So, not too much crazy detail for them. But they debut in chapter 9. Next we have the neighbors, who used to be based on real people. So there's, like, 3 different families in this. The first one is Magdalene and her parents, Joanne and Paulus. So 2 of these families, before I moved, used to live to my left and to my right in those houses. Magdalene was based on the family to my... Okay, so if you're facing away from the front door, she was to the right. The other family, Madeline, Eleni, Emma, and John, were to the left. But both of them moved out before I did. Both of those families did. And also Warren and Casis, cousins of Madeline. You pretty much know what's going on from here. And then Larissa and Carmen, they were based on neighbors who were, like... So, if I'm going to give, like, the location, so, like, if I'm at the front door, I'm facing away from it, they were, like, more this way, across the street. But, yeah, that's where I got them from, because they used to visit us all the dang time. Alright, the next group, none of these were ever based on real people. I need to fix my wording, bruh. So, this was basically, this was always a fictional place, a museum run by James and Jamie. I basically made them as, leaders of this place, and they are boyfriend and girlfriend. So, Fantomini was based on, so the idea of this chapter in Mario Legends was visiting ancient Egypt And so Phantomini was the name I gave to an ancient pharaoh. So that's how I made her. Or I think I'm actually gonna discuss him with another group because I've got a lot to say about that group. But then the next one, Oliver, not based on a real person, ever. So he debuts in chapter 15, and so yeah, he was originally someone who was traveling through space, and so I just when the Nintendo was traveling through space, I created someone to accompany them, and so that was him. All right, the next group is Team Glitch. These people were essentially not based on real people back in the day, but they were based on somebody else's original characters, who I ended up changing in 2023 because of something pretty dang bad that happened. This was someone I used to watch on YouTube all the dang time. But then they ended up doing some pretty bad stuff. And so, since these characters played a really big role in Mario Legends, I didn't want to completely eliminate them. So I basically did the same thing I did with all the, people who were based on real people, and just changed everything about them. So, yeah. And the names of those people, are Locaus, Falorito, Zendeo, Hillary, Fisherin, Bobero, Psychedia, Tamra, Menatea, August, Sermano, Jimaeus, Jennifer, Vermidilvo, Jubarin, Robeco, Wildro, Bellatrix, and Melanaris. But Hillary and Jennifer have always been my OCs that I just added to that group. They're the only ones whose names didn't change. I just added them to the group. And it's been like that ever since. So when I changed everybody else's names, they didn't, because they've always been my OCs. Oiram used to be a part of that group too, but not anymore. So, next we have, from this point forward, there are no more OCs who used to be based on real people. First we've got, these are the people from the Mushroom Kingdom. So, Mashriah, the queen, I basically created her as a queen of the Mushroom Kingdom, because I wanted to add in a character who portrayed Peach's mom, so I created her. Gidi, though, there's a pretty interesting story about how I created her as Peach's grandmother. So, she was actually inspired by an episode from the Super Mario Bros. Super Show. It was the episode about Peach being Little Red Riding Hood. So I basically, I was inspired by, the grandmother from there, and created an OC named GT. Alright. Oh, don't turn off, please. And now, we've got the two Inklings, Beverly and Jameson. So, I actually created these OCs when Smash Ultimate came out, because I was so hyped about Smash Ultimate that I thought about adding every Smash fighter into Mario Legends, but I eliminated most of them because they were from games that I had zero info about, and I just knew nothing about those games, so I didn't really have a reason to keep them in. That included, the Inklings. Beverly and Jameson were created from two of the Inkling skins in Smash Bros. But they were too casual, so I changed the designs. And also, Jameson's original name was James, but then I realized that I already had an OC named James, so I changed it to Jameson. So there's no confusion. Next we've got Cassiala and Ulysses. So, pretty interesting story about these two. So, I created like this group that were helping the Nintendo when, hold on, let me start over. I'm stuttering a lot. So I created these OCs as pirates who, when the Nintendo was voyaging, like, to escape, Ioha again, they were there to help. There was, like, one girl who would also, like, go on adventures by herself named Cassie, and then Ulysses, her older brother, who likes to, like, learn about different mythologies, but also talks a lot of crap. So, these two don't really get along because they don't think the same way. It's classic sibling behavior. Alright. And then our final group, the Fire Giants, along with, okay, so the story about the Fire Giants. So, basically, they're from the Blood Moon, and so they used to, protect people, in Finlaya until they ended up in a war with Bowser that they lost. And so the Koopas destroyed all of their resources, and so the Fire Giants had to resort to eating humans instead. And they've been doing that for 500 years, which was when Mario Legends started taking place. But then, Nightmare Mario and the Fear of Your Resistance, let me turn the webcam so you can actually see them. Hang on a second. I was not paying attention. They were off cam the whole time. Hold on, Cutie is still here too. Alright, I'm gonna move her over here for now. I'll put her back when I'm done with the stream. Alright. There we go. Alright. I totally forgot. Anyway. So, these characters, were created as, the traditional fire giants of the current generation. Oricoria, the queen, Prince Tefron, Ivy, the sorceress, and then 3 more doppelgangers, Stardust Zelda, Knight Locaus, and Knight Jameis. So, of course, Oricoria was, created as, you know, like, the typical, like, evil queen type thing. And then Tefron is the prince from another region. Ivy, I also wanted a sorceress, so I created Ivy. Stardust Zelda, interesting story about her. So, I created a doppelganger of Zelda because both of them talked a lot about the Triforce, and both of them searched for it. But then I portrayed Zelda as the keeper of it, and started Zelda as one who's curious about it. And so, and then Knight Locaus and Knight Jameis, there used to be a mod that inspired me for this, but then, you know, same deal as Team Glitch, so I changed their names. So, they were doppelgangers of Locaus and Jameis, and Bowser created them because Team Glitch was a pretty big deal in Finlaya. And so that's why they were created. And let me see, is there anything else? Nope, that's it. So, in case you were curious about how I created all of these characters, there you go. There's all the origin stories. And so, but yeah, if you're here live, thanks for watching. And, there will be a long form video pretty soon with a more detailed explanation. And so, yeah, and if anyone's watching the VOD, there will be a long form video. So, but yeah, in case you were curious, there's all your origin stories. So, I will see you guys later. for more Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. And by the way, pretty neat Nintendo Direct, huh?